This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
And welcome everybody to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for September 5th, 2024. This is season 14, episode number 4. This is episode number 443 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Once again, everybody, I am Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening. In this show, though, really only the news that we have is the news that you're obviously either already finding out about because you saw on Wednesday evening, or because you saw one of our posts on Facebook about Connor Smith. And so there's a time when you know when you're changing things in your life, right? And players, coaches, regular human beings, anybody, you work at something for 20 years and you decide to make a change. Everybody goes through this at some point in your life, and two young men have decided to make a change as well, and that is Connor Smith and, of course, Colan Fitzgerald. So that's what we bring to you today on the Power Play Post Show. Now, the nice thing is we have Connor Smith here on the show today to talk about this in his own words, which is pretty cool. You'll hear that interview in just a little bit, and even before the interview, you'll hear a little bit from the interview about what Connor had to say about retiring. Now, Colan Fitzgerald, that information was released by the Binghamton Black Bears last night. And I'm sure they'll do something for Connor Smith in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know, who makes those decisions about that type of thing. I'm sure they're planning something for him. But we got to talk to him, and we were going to let you listen to what he had to say about this. So let's get through the must-reads. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for Power Play Post Show. And I appreciate everybody who's done that so far. Check out the BinghamtonHockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, I already hinted towards it, Binghamton Black Bears forward Connor Smith and returning netminder to the Binghamton Black Bears, Sam LiVecchi, will also be on the show. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear that interview as well. So, again, as I said, two members of the Binghamton Black Bears championship winning team are retiring from their playing days. The Black Bears and Colan Fitzgerald posted on Wednesday videos and tributes to the third-year pro who announced he was retiring from pro hockey. There is a kind of like a little banner type of picture, and it does have comments from Fitzy, and I'll read that here. 3 years ago, I decided to make the long trip to Binghamton, New York, and give professional hockey a shot with support from my parents and two older brothers. Now I am an FPHL champion. The relationships, experiences, and life lessons hockey has brought me will always be a part of me. Thank you to the Black Bears fans for accepting a kid from the suburb of Chicago and always making me feel loved. You will forever hold a special place in my heart. Thank you to Coach Sherwood for instilling confidence in me and giving me the opportunity to play my game. Finally, thank you to my teammates from over the years. Your hard work and support each day at the rink allowed me to be the best version of myself and on and off the ice. I look forward to my next adventure, and I am happy to be stepping away from the game I love on my terms and as a champion. I wish the Black Bears Nation all the best wishes, and I will see you soon, Fitzy. Now, when I talked to Fitzy earlier in the summertime, and I knew that this was coming, he kind of already talked about it a little bit with me. He did say that more than likely he will be in Binghamton on opening day. So I think everybody will see him again, definitely for sure, as he wants to see that banner get raised, as I think most of the guys do as well. So Fitzy, obviously great. Okay, so now we go on to Connor Smith. And Connor Smith also makes the announcement that he has retired from pro hockey after one professional season with the Binghamton Black Bears. Now I'm going to let you guys hear it for yourself. This is from the interview that will be, coming up here in just a few more minutes and everything. But here's a little bit of a segment of that. This is me and Connor talking about him retiring. But let's talk about the elephant in the room first. You have made a decision about your pro hockey career. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so as much as I wanted to come back, I love the city of Binghamton and the people there. I made a decision to move forward with life and accept a full-time job as a supervisor at Ford Motor Company.
And was this an easy or a tough decision? Because I don't know. I didn't play pro hockey. I didn't even get through college hockey and everything. Can you talk about how this was either an easy or a tough decision?
Yeah, it was one of the tougher decisions I've ever made in my life. Growing up, my dad taught me to skate when I was 2 years old, so hockey's been a huge part of my life since I can remember, and giving up competitive hockey for a real-world job was definitely not an easy decision, but in the long run, I think it was what was best for me, and I had to move on with life as much as I hated to do it.
So that was Connor Smith talking a little bit about making his decision to retire. You'll hear a little bit more of that conversation in the interview in its full entirety in just a few minutes. Now, in 102 games with the Binghamton Black Bears, Colan Fitzgerald scored 6 goals, 45 assists for 51 points. In 15 playoff games, his productivity was a little bit better. He had 6 goals and 8 assists for 14 points. He definitely showed up in the playoffs without a doubt. He is the only player to have scored a shorthanded goal in all of the first 3 seasons of the Black Bears franchise, and he's in the top 5 of games played in a Binghamton Black Bears uniform. Congratulations to Colan Fitzgerald for winning the championship. You know what? He could have quit halfway through this season while he was up in the SPHL. He wasn't going through some good stuff. We talked to him here on the Power Play Post Show, but I think that him coming down here and playing those last 15 games and getting into the playoffs, and matter of fact, his 14 or 15 playoff games, he's right up there at the top of the amount of playoff games one person has played for the Binghamton Black Bears. So I think it was good for him. I think he saw, all right, I can come back, I can do this. Coach Sherwood obviously had faith in him and faith in his abilities. And just, congratulations to Colan. He's a great kid, smile on his face all the time. And I think he's going to do very well in life. He's also got a podcast out there that he does with a group of other athletes, which I think is pretty awesome as well. Now, in 52 games with the Black Bears in the regular season, Connor Smith scored 32 goals and 39 assists for 71 points, and then scoring as well 5 goals and 3 assists in 10 games over the last 2 seasons in the playoffs. Remember, he joined the team late in last season before this full season with the Black Bears, and he did play in the playoffs then as well. Connor, obviously, prolific scorer, 32 goals and 39 assists for 71 points. He definitely is a gentleman that I think is walking away, in my opinion. Now, this is my opinion, maybe too soon. I really would love to see a couple more years out of him, but this is the decision that both of these gentlemen have made. Now, in the interview with Connor, we do talk to him a little bit more about Brandon Stanko, about playing with him for so long, his other teammates, Dakota Bond, and, of course, Dan Stone. We talked to him about bull riding and the things that he just really enjoys. Now, he makes the tough decision to leave after one season, but he did win a championship with Adrian. He also won a championship, obviously, here in Binghamton. Congratulations to both men. I'm very happy for them both. So I'm going to leave it at that. Obviously, the Binghamton Black Bears haven't announced too much. Obviously, the promo, the rings, the championship rings, they're out there. I have been told that there are going to be some replicas for people to purchase if they want. So that should be stuff coming up that you'll be able to see. Single game tickets are still on sale, so you can go and get your single game tickets if you haven't bought season tickets or gotten some sort of package with the Binghamton Black Bears. We haven't seen a promo schedule yet. That'll probably be coming up in a few weeks. And we're only just, if you think about it, if today's the 5th, we're only 25 days away. That's just over 3 weeks before the training camp starts. And a lot of these players, all the new signees and the 15 returning players will be back and be on the ice training and getting ready for the home opener, which will be on October 12th. They do play in Watertown on October 11th. One of the good things that I did see, I want to bring this up just real quick before we get into the Connor Smith interview, is that the FPHL has, I think, 4 or 5 exhibition games between teams this season. Last year, I think there was only 1. The year before that, there might have been 1 or 2. And I just think it's a very good thing that these teams are getting together and playing a little bit exhibition-wise. It gives these coaches the ability to see a couple more people in actual game action, which I think is going to be good for just making the best decisions for these coaches and these general managers as they prepare for the regular season. And remember, we got 14 teams this year, so this will be pretty cool. It'd be a pretty cool season, I think, for the FPHL, having 14 teams. You can have 7 games on a Friday night, 7 games on a Saturday night. It kind of feels more like, man, we got the gusto going. You got more teams. It feels like a more established league instead of having only 4 games or 5 games. You're going to have, in some cases, 7 games on Friday nights and Saturday nights, which I think is pretty awesome. So let's get to the Connor Smith interview. As you know, he is retiring from hockey now, and I think this is going to be a good thing for you guys to be able to take in, listen, and enjoy. Connor has been good to me in the Power Play Post Show. He talked to me on Media Day, the beginning of the season, talked to me at the end of the year. Anytime I went up to him and had a conversation with him, always very polite, very awesome. So was Colan Fitzgerald, for that matter. And Sam LiVecchi will be on the show to finish this off. And we'll talk to him a little bit about being in Elmira. We'll talk to Sam about the end of his season here in Binghamton last year. He wasn't playing the best that he could play, and I think we'll get into that a little bit more, as well as his excitement as well to be back with Nolan Egbert and Connor McAnanima as the goalie trio coming into this. Jared Levine will also be the goaltending coach. We'll get his thoughts on just having someone else kind of look at his game and maybe give thoughts and ideas to how to make it better. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show is Connor Smith. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I'm very excited to have this gentleman on. He's actually presently in the car, but he is on a highway. I know he can talk to us and hopefully still be safe. but it's very important that we talk to this gentleman. He is the cowboy. He rides bulls on the weekends, well, sometimes Thursday nights, and he's also one of the former Binghamton Black Bears who has won a Commissioner's Cup championship. He is Connor Smith. Welcome back to the show, Connor. It's great to talk to you again and to have you come on. And we're going to tell our own little story about this summer with you. So I appreciate you coming back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Connor, winning the championship was a pretty big deal for all of you guys. I've talked to many of you since the championship, and it was a great icing on the cake for a season that had ups and downs and had a little bit of everything. What were your thoughts, pretty much afterwards about winning the championship?
I mean, it was unreal. I mean, just to see the entire city behind us at the end. We did have some ups and downs, like you said, throughout the season. But, I mean, I think in the back of our minds, we all kind of knew it was going to happen throughout the year. We had some doubters here and there, but I think as a group, as a team, we knew that it was going to happen.
What was it about this team, the gelling of this team, that made you confident that they were going to win the championship?
Just how close we were as a group. I mean, the year before when I came in at the end of the year, we had guys that hated each other and were trying to fight each other all the time at practice and stuff like that, and guys just didn't want to be in the room. And then this past year, I mean, everybody wanted to be there. Everybody was happy to show up. I mean, towards the middle of the season, it got a little rough. Guys were kind of dragging to get to the locker room, but everybody still showed up and went to work every day of the year.
Yeah, the middle of the season is always tough for everyone. And at the end of the season, I think you guys kind of got this resurgence. We talk about the second season all the time when it comes to hockey and the playoffs. Is that true even when it's a small amount of games? Is there a little bit of a resurge in energy? Even if it is, I mean, you guys played 7 games. It could have been longer than 7 games, but you guys only played 7 games. But even with that few amount of games, is there still like that extra excitement, that resurge in energy because it's the playoffs?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Even with the shortened amount of games, I mean, everybody's preparing as much as they can and doing everything that they possibly can to tweak those last couple things before playoff starts, and everybody's showing up doing what little bit of extra work they got to do to make sure everybody's ready.
Connor, before we get into your summer and what you've been doing, and your mom sent me a video that was shared on Facebook with you riding a bull, and to me, that's the craziest thing in the whole wide world. I think that's probably more dangerous than playing hockey, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But let's talk about the elephant in the room first. You have made a decision about your pro hockey career. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So as much as I wanted to come back, I mean, I love the city of Binghamton and the people there. I made a decision to move forward with life and accept a full-time job as a supervisor at Ford Motor Company.
And was this an easy or a tough decision? Because I don't know. I didn't play pro hockey. I didn't even get through college hockey and everything. Can you talk about how this was either an easy or a tough decision?
I mean, yeah, it was one of the tougher decisions I've ever made in my life. I mean, growing up, my dad taught me to skate when I was 2 years old, so hockey's been a huge part of my life since I can remember, and giving up competitive hockey for a real-world job was definitely not an easy decision, but in the long run, I think it was what was best for me, and I had to move on with life as much as I hated to do it.
Yeah, because you've played organized hockey, since you were probably 6 or 7 years old, right? Am I kind of close on that?
Probably,
that's like almost 20 years.
Yeah, probably a little younger than that, so a little over 20 years.
Yeah, and that's a long time to be a part of something like this. Now, of course, you started, obviously doing the rodeo and bull riding stuff at some point, but hockey you can start playing when you're 3, 4, 5 years old and everything. is there going to be a moment in October when you're not lacing up the skates that you're thinking, wow, did I make the right decision? Or do you think you have kind of come to you're good in your heart about this?
I mean, I don't think it's fully hit me yet. I
Sure.
mean, usually at this point of the year, I'm still working or doing something like my summer job, stuff like that, and somewhat preparing for the next season. So I think once I see the first game or see like posts about guys at training camp, stuff like that, then it'll probably hit me and it'll be a little harder to get past it. But yeah, for right now, I've been more focused on work and getting comfortable in the new job and stuff like that. So I've thought about it, but haven't put a whole bunch of thought into that side of it. Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm making it worse, and I do apologize. But I do have one last question about the decision and everything. How hard of a conversation was that with Coach Sherwood, who I'm pretty sure really, 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 really wanted you back and everything? How tough of a conversation is that with him?
It really wasn't at all. I mean, I told him, I gave him a call the day that I got a call about receiving the job. I talked to him for 5 or 10 minutes, and he was super understanding, and he understood everything completely. I mean, I know it sucked for both of us making that decision, but he completely understood, and he took it really well. I really wasn't expecting him to take it that well, but he was super understanding about all of it.
And what fans probably don't realize, or maybe they do because we've talked about it enough, this is a bump in pay for you, right? I mean, we're talking about a real job that has, real pay. You don't have to tell us how much you're making. I don't want to know. That's not my point. My point is that it's very difficult. And this is why this is such a difficult decision for a lot of players when they're deciding whether they're going to play or not play. It's because the Fed doesn't really pay a lot of money, and that makes it difficult as there are some players that are not coming back to this championship team, and part of it is income related.
Yeah, I mean, the pay isn't obviously great, but Andreas takes good care of the entire team, and or like groceries or gas or something, like there's always somebody within the organization that's willing to help out, whether it be like staff or boosters, anything like that. I mean, there's always somebody that's willing to help out. But yeah, I mean, the big thing was like benefits and stuff like that, like retirement, insurance, that sort of thing. That was part of my decision as well. Like, obviously we don't have you can get team insurance, but you have to pay for it. Yeah. Whereas with the job, you usually get it. So that was a big part of it because I wasn't going to be on my parents' insurance this year, so it was going to just be another expense added. And I didn't think I could really afford all of it. And as much as it sucked to make the decision, it kind of had to be done.
Okay, so I have to ask you, what was the first day of work was like? I've been doing this work thing, this 9 to 5 thing for a while now. What was it like for you to go to work for the first time? I don't want to say the first time because you've had a job before, but this is like the real big boy job. What was that like going in for the first time?
Well, my first day wasn't a very easy day that I started on. Oh. It was a lot of chaos and stuff going wrong. Of course, it just happened to be my first day. But luckily, I have another guy that I'm kind of like training with and stuff like that till I'm comfortable, and then he's going to move off to a different department. But yeah, I mean, he makes it a lot easier for me because he's been there for a while and does a good majority of it. But slowly, just kind of getting through everything, getting to know like computer systems and all that stuff, and kind of how everything works. It was a little bit of a shock at first, showing up and having it just be pure chaos for a couple hours.
That's the first day when you have a first day like that. That's when you're like, can I go back to hockey now? Because that's a little bit.
I thought about it.
Let me ask you this question: how long have you been riding bull? How long have you been doing the rodeo scene?
I started want to say like 3 or 4 years ago.
Gotcha. And
Yeah,
what got you?
something like that.
What got you into it?
I always wanted to when I was a kid, but I knew my parents would never say yes to it, and then it kind of just got put on the back burner with junior hockey in college and stuff. And then when I got to college, I found out that there was a rodeo in Adrian where you could pay $5 to get in and just go watch. And then I figured out you could pay cash to jump on a bull, and so I went the next week and paid my cash and never looked back.
Is it as dangerous as it looks like? I mean, I watched the video of you. I've seen it on ESPN. Is it more dangerous or less dangerous than hockey? Let me just ask you in those terms.
Oh, it's absolutely more dangerous than hockey. I mean, with hockey you can get caught by a skate, whatever, but you have plenty of padding and stuff like that. Whereas riding a bull, you have a thin vest and a helmet if you want to wear a helmet. And that's about all the protection you have. So if that 2,000-pound animal wants to kill you, he will.
Yeah, and no, thank you. I'll never do that. I've seen the bull, the mechanical bulls in the bars, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. And then I realized, no, I probably cannot. So how many buckles do you have? Right, because I think it's buckles that you get when you win a tournament, right?
Yeah, so I just have the one right now that I won last year. Yeah.
And
so,
for the people that don't know, Connor, if you could explain, how do you advance when you ride the bull and you go out there? You have to be on the bull for at least 8 seconds. Is that right? Or am I wrong on that?
So it's 8 seconds is like the max. That's like your time. Once you hit 8 seconds, you'll and find the safest exit possible. And basically, it's a score up to 100, and it's 50 points to the bull and how well the bull performs, and 50 points to the rider and how well the rider stays on and stays center and stays like in control.
Okay, so you told us earlier that you didn't think your parents were going to let you do it. Now, has your family kind of rallied around the bull riding and you doing it?
Not so much. I mean, my mom enjoys coming to watch. My dad will come and watch as much as he can, but my dad is very much against it. He's not a fan of it. He told me last year when I was trying to win the buckle that I ended up winning, he said that he would buy me the buckle if I would just stop riding.
Is that more because he wants you to stay safe, or is it?
Yeah.
Because I know some people are against bull riding and everything, but it's more about safety for you, right?
Yeah, it was more about he didn't want to see me get hurt.
Now, how long do you think you can continue to ride bull? Like, I don't know anything about it. Like, how long do most professionals ride bull?
It depends. I mean, you could die anytime you're on the back one, so it all depends on your luck and how bad of injuries you get, because it's not really a when you get hurt, or it's not when, like, if you get hurt, it's when you get hurt and how bad it is.
Yeah. Is there a thrill in it for you that you can compare to hockey in any way? Is there something about riding a bull? Because it's like a thrill sport almost, in a sense, right? It's a sport. You guys are athletes. You got to be in shape. Fat guy like I can't go on a bull and do well and everything, but you have to be, definitely an athlete. But is there a thrill part of that you can compare to hockey in any way?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's more so the adrenaline. Like, I'm a pretty big adrenaline junkie, and that's kind of why I do it. But I mean, the closest I would think maybe would be winning the championship. I think that would be the closest thing to it.
Well, you did score 4 goals in one game. That was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was cool, But
it's broken up, right? Like, there's the excitement of, I scored a goal, and then I scored 2 goals. Now I got a hat trick. Now I've scored 4 goals. It's not that same when you're on that bull for 8 seconds and trying to.
Yeah, no, Absolutely not. It's more spread out in hockey, whereas bull riding is all at once.
Yeah. Now, your mom had sent me the video. She said that you did not perform well in what I saw. Break it down for me. What did I not see? Because to me, I saw you stay on that bull for a long time. But what did you feel that you didn't do well that you could have done better on?
I didn't hook my spurs in tight enough and fell off the side. It wasn't great.
Gotcha. And they judge you, right? There's judges that watch this and judge and divvy up that 50 points for you and the 50 points for the bull, correct?
Yep.
So I have to ask you, have you been on the ice at all this summer?
Here and there, not much. I have I'm skating in a couple leagues with my dad starting here in the next week or two. But besides that, I don't really have anywhere to skate, like in the summers. So being back at school, they had the ice out for a good amount of time, and then when they did get back, like when they put the ice back in, I went and skated with my brother a couple times and a few of those guys, but that was really about it.
Connor, tell us how tough playing pro hockey is, even at the single A level. Any injuries for you this past year that, kind of creeped up and were there?
My shoulder's kind of always there. Actually, I have Brendan Stanko to thank for that one. But
what did Brendan Stanko do to your shoulder? Please explain.
I think it was either my sophomore or junior season. I went to hit somebody, and he pushed them from behind.
Ooh.
And the kid took out my knees, and I went shoulder first into the boards.
Yep.
And
Yep.
separated my shoulder, and then it's just ever since, like the smallest minor tweaks can set it off, and it happened a couple times, but it's
Wait until you get a little bit older, and the low pressure that comes through sometimes, like through the Michigan, and everything low pressure, weather systems. That'll aggravate it, and wait until that happens. Then you're gotten old.
Sure. I'm sure it'll happen, but yeah, I had that, and then I had an ankle injury towards the end of the year. I took a shot when we were in Port Huron off the outside of the foot, and it just, I don't know if it was a bone bruise or what, but it just wouldn't go away for weeks. Yeah, and I actually, the rest of the season, I had to keep a foam pad on the outside of my ankle so that there wasn't that constant pressure of my skate pushing against it.
Did that hurt your balance at all on the skates?
No, not at all. But I did have to go take my skates off after we won because we spent too much time on the ice.
Yeah.
So I went and took my skates off and put my shoes on and walked back out on the ice.
Yeah, it took a while for you guys to really. That's the fun part about winning on home ice. When Binghamton won in 2011, they won down in Houston, Texas, and the celebration was what it was, and then they all probably went out and partied somewhere in Houston. With you guys, there was all the fans. There were family, friends. Everybody was literally there on the ice for a super, super, super long time. I have to imagine that night, May 10th, 2024, is going to be a night you probably won't forget for the rest of your life.
Oh, no. I'll definitely remember that for the rest of my life, that's for sure.
Name one thing for me that you'll miss about Binghamton, and not necessarily the fans. We all know the fans are great, and they love you, and we love the fans as well. But name one thing about Binghamton that you might miss.
I'm obviously going to miss the fans, like you said, but just the city is a great place to play. There's so much to do outside of the rink. We were a little ways away, so it was kind of hard to get in and do stuff all the time. But I enjoyed having all that stuff so close where if I needed something or wanted to go do something, I could go do just about anything that I wanted.
Did it feel a little weird that Brendan Stanko wasn't there with you guys the whole way to win the championship? Because you'd spent a long time with Brendan and Adrian, right?
Yeah, I played 4 years with him. I actually I knew him before going to school because our little brothers played hockey together.
Oh, wow.
So I had known him and his family for quite a while, and then obviously we came in together after our college season.
Yeah.
And then started the year last year together. So it was a little odd not having him on the ice, but that wasn't really too much about until after the fact.
Really?
I was like, yeah. It wasn't something I thought of in the moment because I was like, I have all these other friends that I've made throughout the year, and that was what I was more focused on. And then after the fact, I was like thinking about it, realized like, wow, he really wasn't here for half the year or three-quarters of the year, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm sure you spoke to him either afterwards, text or whatever. What was his thoughts on the whole situation of the team winning the championship?
I mean, he was very happy for us. He did wish that he was there because obviously Roanoke didn't do as well as they had hoped. But and him dealing with injuries and that sort of stuff at the end of this year, he was a little sad that he couldn't be a part of it. But we knew that he was at least somewhat a part of it to start the year.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things. Now, of course, Dan Stone, Dakota Bond, obviously there with you guys. If you could do me a favor and just, why is Adrian Hockey producing such great hockey players that are playing pro hockey now? What is it about the program? I don't think I asked you that when I first talked to you back on Media Day and everything, but what is it about Adrian Hockey that has produced such good hockey players?
It's just the school it's a great place. I mean, I think it's like 80 or 90% of the school is some sort of athlete. So everything within the school is focused around more athletics rather than academics, and just the recruiting process. I mean, it's a lot of the hockey players are from Michigan, and then we get a lot. I think it was half and half my senior year, where half were from Michigan, and then the other half were from somewhere in Canada.
It's interesting because I think Brody Thornton came from Adrian, and now he's playing in there. It's just amazing, and I think, I mean, you could speak towards it with Stanko. I think he's got the skill that if he gets with the right coach in the SP, he's got the skill to get to the ECHL. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his biggest thing is he's got to stay healthy. Ever since I've played with him, he's dealt with a lot of injuries, and that's just how it's been for him. I mean, he's struggled with injuries, and if he can stay healthy, he absolutely has the skill and the knowledge and the work ethic to play in the ECHL.
Connor, do you think in the future, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we're going to see an ACHA player possibly play, 4 years of college hockey and then make that slow progression up? Do you think we could get a player from ACHA hockey to play in the NHL someday?
I think it would be very hard to do. It would have to be a situation like Fitz, where he went in as a true freshman and worked his way from there. But I believe that it can be done. It would definitely not be very easy.
Is there still a negative perception on ACHA hockey or club hockey that those players aren't good enough to play at the highest level of hockey?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, people look at the ACHA and see that it's club hockey, and they just immediately assume that it's only the NCAA rejects that don't play there.
Sure, but I think
that's definitely not. That's not the case really at all. I mean, a lot of Adrian players, myself included, all turned down to go play because it was cheaper or wanted to be closer to home or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that perception is just like, oh, they're not good hockey players, and then you see them on the ice, and you see the skill set that they have, and you see their understanding of how to play hockey, and hockey IQ is huge, right? And I know you talked about how Adrian really there's an emphasis on athletics than academics. But I have a feeling that the majority of the people that go to Adrian graduate with a degree, not necessarily just go and play sports and then move on. I think there's that healthy balance probably.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely, academics is a huge part of it as well. Like, some people choose ACHA because the NCAA schools that they were getting offers from don't offer the degree that they want to take.
Sure.
So that's a big part of it as well.
Connor, thank you very much for last season. I know every single fan is very happy that, you and those other, 18 men were there helping the team win a championship, especially within the city, being 52 years of pro hockey for Binghamton, to have the second title and it'd be the first one to be won at home. It's been a pleasure to get to know you personally, whether it be through, Instagram or just through your family, because, your family has been a part of the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. I totally appreciate that. I wish you the best of luck. If you would have called me and asked me, I would have said, keep playing hockey. Don't go to that 9-to-5 job. But you had to do what you had to do, and I understand that completely. But I'd still tell you to go back to playing hockey and everything. But just, be well and do whatever makes you happy, because that's the most important thing.
Right, absolutely. And thank you again for all that you do. And I just wanted to say to the fans, thank you for everything that all of you have done and the support that you've given to me and the team. It really means a lot.
Cool. Awesome. Connor, thank you very much. I'll let you go. Drive safely. You got, about another half-hour drive probably?
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. Well, put on some... Well, all right, let me ask you one last question. You're going to hang up with me. You're going to turn on the radio. What are you going to be listening to on the way home?
I don't really listen to the radio. I listen to my own music, but probably some country or rock.
All right. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Connor, thank you very much, and drive safely.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. We go from one gentleman retiring, we go to another gentleman that is coming back to the Binghamton Black Bears. That's right. Signed earlier this summer, coming back to the Binghamton Black Bears is netminder Sam LiVecchi. He has formerly been on our show, and we're glad to have him back. And I usually send him a text or a message every once in a while here to make sure he's doing all right and check in on him. And Sam is back with us here on the Power Play Post Show. Sam, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Now let's talk about what happened just a little bit ago. You were out golfing with Dan Weber. Dan Weber is back in town. Another guy who's returning to the Black Bears for his upcoming second season as well, and everything. You guys were golfing. How were you guys hitting them today?
It's a touchy subject still, but
no,
we did good. We did good. We kind of ran out of daylight towards the last 2.5 holes. So we had a 5:48 tee time. The course was packed up, but for the most part, I'd say we were hitting them pretty good. Couple to the right, couple nowhere, but other than that, I'd say all in all, it was a good round.
And what's really nice is this is the best time of year sometimes to play golf, and you run out of daylight sometimes, but it's the temperature, the coolness, the crisp fall air. Sometimes, to me, is the best time to play golf.
Yep, I've honestly preached on that. Fall golf, best golf. You're not sweating, you're not freezing. It's just perfect, not too sunny,
Yeah. Now, you've golfed a lot this summer. Tell us some of the local golf courses that you've golfed at. We know Ely Golf Course is one that you guys go to often. Monetarily, it's the easiest one for you guys to play. But
Right.
tell me some of the other courses that you've been to this year.
So other than Ely, I would say 97% of the time I've gone to Ely. Actually, 2 or 3 days ago, I went to Rochester to visit my mom and dad for Labor Day, and I caught up with one of my childhood buddies. We golfed at, it's called Braemar Country Club. I actually used to work there when I was 16. It's in Greece, New York. It's an unforgiving course. But yeah, I played there on Labor Day.
And what makes it unforgiving? What's the characteristics of that course?
Very narrow from the tee box, so you're kind of pressured into hitting it straight, which sometimes I struggle with, especially on a windy day in Rochester on Labor Day. It was me and him struggled a bit, I'll be honest.
Okay, I got to get you out to some other golf courses. There's some pretty good ones here in the Binghamton area. I've already told you about going up to Tioga Country Club. It was designed by a golf pro, and you got to go play it. There's some of the trickiest stuff. It'll piss you off. I will tell you, the first time you play there, you will throw a club. You will. You got to have some calm, cool collectiveness when you play Tioga. I remember playing there as a kid, going to Tioga Center. It was our home golf course, and it is tough, but it's great. There's a couple dog legs in there that will just drive you bonkers. It'll frustrate you because you'll want to hit it hard, and you're like, if I hit this thing too hard, I'm going right into the woods. And so, got to get you up to Tioga Country Club. Yeah,
I'm actually. I've had a couple people request that. I'm looking forward to trying that out one of these days.
Well, we got to definitely get you up there. Sam, let's talk a little bit about the end of your tenure with the Black Bears before you were released and everything. Obviously, there was a battle for the goaltending position between you, Connor, and Nolan. Now, one of the things I want to preface this question with, you guys are like the best of friends. You guys literally love each other like brothers and everything. And even though there's got to be competition on ice, off the ice, you guys were as close as can be and everything. How did you feel about your game before you were being released?
Honestly, I hit a slump. I was not happy with my game at all. I wasn't tracking. I was kind of second-guessing everything. It was just that point of the season. I was kind of, I don't really know the word for it, but I wasn't all there. But looking back at it, I definitely studied where my mentality was at that point of the season. I rewatched some of it. I definitely learned. I know what I got to do. I've spent a lot of time this summer focusing on the little things. I think that's what here's the answer to the question. I was messing up on the little things. I was forgetting all the little things.
Sure.
I wasn't turning my head. I wasn't turning to get the right angle. I wasn't having my hands out. My rebound control was subpar. But that's definitely one of the top things I've been working on this summer is the little things. And actually our new goalie coach texted me this morning. He was like, looking forward to working with you. What's one thing you want to work on this year? And I told him, I was like, remembering the little things and just being consistent with the little things.
Yeah, you're talking about new goaltending coach Jared Levine, who is going to be helping you guys out. Is there a part of you that's like, yes, somebody who's going to be around the rink as much as he can be? I'm not sure exactly what his schedule is going to be like. He's obviously texted you already, asking you what you want to work on and everything, and he'll probably talk to you and see you guys in camp and everything. But are you? I don't want to say excited, but are you happy to have another set of eyes looking at your play, so to hopefully get you just at a better play?
I'm very happy and excited, to be honest. Like you said, it's another set of eyes, and us three being a tandem last year, like, yeah, we like fed off each other in practice and like gave each other pointers.
Mm-hmm.
But from having a coach, I guess it's different in a way, just because there's someone always watching you. Like C-Mac and Eggy, like they'd only see when we'd like rotate out for a drill. They'd only see a part of my practice.
Sure.
But a goaltending coach, he's going to be watching for the majority of the time, and he's definitely going to have a lot more to say. And it's also going to be great to have that guy there to keep reminding us about the little things throughout the season.
And when teams don't have something like that at this level of hockey, is it difficult for you to, when you get into your own head, to get out of your head without somebody there? Nothing against Coach Sherwood. He'll tell everybody in a heartbeat he's not a goaltending coach. He can sometimes spot a thing here and there, but he will admit wholeheartedly that, he's not a goaltender, not a goaltending coach and everything. Was it hard to not be in your own head when you were going through that slump a little bit?
Yeah, I think that was most of it. I was just stuck in my head. That was definitely most of it. And I guess the part where I was trying to get out of my head, I was just overanalyzing everything and completely forgot about the simplest of things to my game.
Now, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much it. I was trying to think of something else to say.
But, after that, obviously you get released and you get to still play a little bit more as Elmira picked you up and everything. How was your time with Elmira? I know off the record, you and I talked a little bit about it, and it wasn't the same. The environment wasn't the same, so to speak. But what can you speak to that?
It was different. I love the guys, but going from a team that I'm practically brothers with everyone there to not knowing anyone on the new team and having to adjust to Jurich's like practice style and schedule. It was different, but my time in Elmira was, I want to say, a learning experience and kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? It was kind of just it was an eye opener for sure, because what I had going, I had such a hot start to the year, and then it can just like switch up at a blink of an eye. But what did you learn?
What did you learn about yourself and about your game while playing with Elmira?
I learned that I just need to like take a deep breath and just start from scratch and just like go over the basics. And the way the practices were, we had goalie skates every Wednesday, so I did have a goalie coach there. And he was kind of reminding me, he's like, keep your chin down. That's why you're flinching and not tracking the puck, because my chin wasn't down, my shoulders weren't forward, which pulled my hands backwards. So I was practically just there, not even in any position at all. So I definitely just kind of learned to slow down in Elmira. Obviously, Sammy Bernard was the guy there, so I just took that time and really focused on the little things and kind of retained everything and applied that to my game again.
Sam, now we talked about this a little bit, I think the first time you were on the show, but you got to spend a little bit of time up with the Syracuse Crunch during the goalie sessions that they were having there, where you and Connor and Nolan were able to go up and actually get to practice with the Syracuse Crunch. How important were those sessions for you guys, and for you specifically, to go up and to play at that level, so to speak, or practice with guys at that level, because they're one step away from the NHL? And I know that guys like Connor have played in leagues where he's playing with some NHLers that are in their town or their city. I've talked to guys who've done that. But how important is that for someone like you to be able to go up there and to take shots from some of those guys?
It's huge, for sure. It's another eye-opener. You just notice the skill gap, and it's crazy how much faster hockey is there. But the sessions with the goalie coach out there were honestly amazing. I forgot what his name was, but he is a great coach. he taught me. It's one thing that I still remember. Imagine there's like a laser pointing from the middle of my forehead to the puck, and I need to tilt my forehead and keep my chin down so it's directly at the puck, and that just helps you snap your head to wherever the puck's going. He was very good. He had a lot of good pointers. That it's honestly awesome because for goaltending, it applies at every level. You know, it's all the same. Like if you can retain this, you can just carry it on to a higher level and so forth.
Sam, how has your training been during the summer? Like, can you walk us through your training schedule and what it's been like? How much have you been on the ice getting ready for the upcoming camp?
Yeah, so ever since I got released from Binghamton, I think the week after, that's kind of when I honestly started my off-season training. I've been working out every day. Some days I can't, but every day I'd say 90% of the week I'm working out. I've been eating a lot more. I'm currently 14 pounds heavier than I was at the last season's physical. I've been trying to eat around 3,500 calories a day, roughly. What else? Yeah, so I've been going to the gym every day. I gained a lot of weight, which I wanted to do. I just needed more
muscle
mass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gained 14 more pounds, and I was happy with that. And now I'm kind of at the point where I'm focusing on cardio. I've been pretty much just running and hitting legs strictly, and then I'll hit back just to strengthen my back so my posture's better.
But what about on ice training? Has there been that as well?
Yeah, so I've been training with my goalie coach, Ryan Hain, ever since the season in Elmira ended. I got back with him. He's down in Rochester, Fairport, New York.
Okay.
The small rink called Village Sports. I've been with him currently at around 2 times a week. I've been training with him since I was like 12 years old, I think. He's been awesome for me. He's the one that I've been talking to about like the things I need to work on, and he's just designating drills to like rebound control, tracking, steering pucks to the corner, not punching them out into traffic, tight seal everything. He's been awesome for me. But yeah, I've been skating around 2 times a week. It's just tough with the drive, but I'm skating this Friday and Saturday morning, I believe. So I'm going to try and up that 3 times before training camp, and then the whole week before training camp, I have a schedule with Ryan Hain, my goalie coach. We're going to do a light session, then a workout, and then the next day and so forth.
How much are you looking forward to getting back into Binghamton Black Bears camp, though, we're talking like 3 weeks from now. I mean, it's not that far away and everything. How excited are you to get back in, put that jersey back on, and get out there with those guys for training camp?
I am honestly beyond excited. This is the only thing I've been focused on since the day I left, honestly.
You've played a lot of golf. I don't believe that's 100% accurate. I'm kidding.
Okay. But yeah. Golf's important too, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I am beyond excited. I'm pretty hungry. This second chance is huge for me. And I know what I can do, so I just gotta, my plan was to be in the best condition form that I've been in, and I think I'm at that point, and I'm just excited to see what I can do now.
How important is it, I know you live with your girlfriend, Madison, how important is it to have that support staff with you? Because some of the players, they come into the city and their family is not here. You're at least a couple hours away from your family up in Rochester and everything. But to have someone like her here with you 24/7, how important is that to have that kind of support?
Super important. I mean, I don't think I think mentally it'd be a lot harder on me if she wasn't here for sure.
Yeah.
Like after a bad game, she's the first one to pick me up. Well, other than my teammates, but first person to get to me outside of the rink. But yeah, like with this whole summer, she knows my goals, and she's been nothing but supportive and behind me and pushing me to go to the gym, pushing me to eat more, pushing me to, be in like the best shape I can be. That same goes for her family and my family back in Rochester. They're just nothing but awesome to me.
Talk about pickleball. What's this pickleball that I hear? I'm hearing so much about pickleball. Talk to me a little bit about pickleball, because I know that, and I'm going to say pickleball 5 more times before you get to answer this, probably. But I know you guys are, you and Brooks Hill and some of the people with the Binghamton Black Bears have picked up the game, and I hear you like it a lot.
Oh, yeah, it's great conditioning. So I guess, let's see here. It all started, I want to say June. Maddie's parents had a little pickleball court set up in their driveway. I was playing with her little brother, Max. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is fun. Like, this is awesome. And then I saw Brooks, Bobby, EJ, Alex, all of them like post on their Instagram while they're playing pickleball, and I was like, "Let me in! I want in!" Like, and then they're like, "All right." So every time they've gone, they've invited me, and we started going Thursdays, Sundays, and it gets competitive. It gets very competitive. It's super fun. I love it.
Who's the best pickleball player of the bunch?
Bobby Gross, for sure.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I don't know what makes a good pickleball player from a bad one, but I think Bobby's just positioning it's really good, and he hits the ball like really fast, and so it barely goes over the net, so it's low and hard to read. Oh. And then when you hit it back, he's just already like reading where you're going to hit it, and he's there.
Amazing. I wonder what his athletic background is and everything to be so good at that. And I would expect someone, like a professional athlete to be able to kick his butt, but it sounds like he's pretty good.
Right. He used to play tennis, so that probably transfers over.
It has to transfer over. I've also heard a rumor, and maybe you can clarify this, Brooks Hill has also been working out and looking kind of buff these days.
I don't know about buff. No, I was kidding. He looks good. He works out at the rink. I have a membership at Planet Fitness for the summer. That's where I've been going. But some days I'll meet up with Brooks at the gym at the rink and join him. But yeah, he's been pretty dedicated to the gym. He's looking pretty good. I can't lie.
We obviously talked a little bit earlier with Connor Smith about his retirement. Colan Fitzgerald, it was announced on Wednesday that he's retiring. What can you say about these two guys who, obviously, Colin 3 years into his career, Connor obviously played one season, a little bit of last season before deciding to hang it up. What can you tell us about Connor and Colin?
Yeah, I'll start with Connor. They're both amazing people. Connor was my first friend on the team, actually. I was driving up from Rochester for the first time, and he put in the group chat, he's like, hey, anyone want to grab food? I was like, yeah, sure. So we went to, I think it's called Mooney's.
Yeah, Mooney's.
Over in JC.
Mac and cheese place.
Yeah, exactly.
Great place.
He told me to get the mac and cheese, so we both got the mac and cheese, and that was the best mac and cheese I've ever had. But yeah, we talked. He's a great hunter. He's a great bull rider, obviously.
Yep.
He's good at a lot of things. Stand-up guy. Can't say anything bad about the guy.
He seems to be a quiet individual. Is he a quiet individual around you guys, or just quiet around the rest of the world?
He's quieter. He's not quiet. But yeah, I mean, he's very genuine guy.
Yeah.
Fits right in with the guys. Big part of the team.
And Fitzy's kind of like the opposite, right? I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean like he's boisterous, funny,
Right.
always got a smile on his face. I mean, literally, I think the kid's frown is a smile.
Yeah, I mean, I've only met Fitzy a handful of times, but just from like barely knowing the guy, like he would come up to me with a smile on his face, like, "Hey Sam, what's going on, buddy?" And then like I think it was one playoff game I saw him. He had posted one of his goals against Elmira, and I happened to be in that. I was like, "Hey, thanks for the feature on your highlight the other day." And so laughing.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. 15 returning players coming back from last year's team, Sam. That's a lot of returning players. I got to imagine the expectations had to be very similar to what the last year's team did. This year's upcoming team, you won your first 6 games in net. You had to have a lot of confidence at that point.
Oh yeah. I had a lot of confidence for sure. I was beyond happy with my game. I was feeling good, seeing the puck great. And then I think Carolina rolled around, and that one kind of threw me for a loop. But I'm just looking to leave off, or like pick up where I started off last year, and then have some consistency and carry that on throughout the year this time.
Other than the few Calgary boys on this team, Dan Stone and Josh Fletcher, a lot of the guys are American-born players. I'd love to get your thoughts. I don't know. I want to know if I love to get your thoughts on this, but talk a little bit about Johnny Hockey. I mean, obviously, you probably, I don't know if you'd ever met him or anything in any of the travels around the world or anything that you did playing hockey and stuff, but, the impact of his death on USA Hockey, he was probably, in the last 15, 20 years, one of the best USA-born hockey players there was. The impact of him, I mean, so many people were just devastated to hear of his passing.
Yeah, it's a super sad story. Huge hit to the hockey world. I've actually skated with Matthew a couple of times.
Okay.
My old teammate, Eamon Powell, he played for Boston College, and we had there's a couple college skates, and he was there. I've met him once or twice.
What was Matthew like? We obviously, a lot of us knew of, Matthew, but, Johnny was like all over the place. Obviously, whether it be NHL Network or just, on TV and everything because of his NHL career. But what was Matthew like?
Super smiley, super happy guy. It doesn't look like there's a sad thought behind his eyes. He's just super happy to be there around the hockey world. He's just always happy to skate. Yeah, I mean, he was just a great dude. I don't know what Johnny's like, but the things I've heard, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, without a doubt. What's your most, happiest thought about coming back to the Black Bears? What's the thing that you're going to, like, when you walk through that door for camp on the first day, what is going to be the thing that's going to put the biggest smile on your face?
Just seeing everyone, Sherwood, all the guys, like, that's a family right there, and I'm excited to be back with them, and just go to war with them,
Yeah. One last question before I let you go. You were there on May 10th when they won the championship. You had a smile on your face. Did it kind of hurt a little bit that you weren't in uniform?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I was super happy for everyone. I was hoping and praying they'd do it, and I knew they would. I want nothing else for that group of guys. But obviously not being a part of it definitely hurt a little bit.
But it's a driving force to get back, right?
Exactly. That's it lit a bigger fire under my butt. I was already training at that point, but ever since that happened, I put in double the effort. I know what I got to do now, and yeah, I got a lot of motivation for this season. That's for sure. A lot of things to prove.
And when Hudson Valley released you, how quickly did you or Brant get in touch with each other?
So me and Brant were texting before that. We were planning on when I would get my release, and then Newberg, the new coach of Hudson Valley, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, we're filing your release today." And I think 30 seconds later, I texted Brant. I was like, "Hey, I'm getting released today." He was like, "Sweet."
Gotcha. And so it just, the rest is history, obviously. Sam, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you at the rink, especially at camp. I'll give you a fist pump. We'll talk. I'll get you on I'll put a microphone right in your. As soon as you come off the ice, put a microphone right in his face.
Let's do it.
Because that's what we do here. That's how the media works. When you start working in the media after your playing career is done, trust me, you're going to do the same thing. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
It's funny how when NFL guys say stop putting a microphone in front of my face, and then they become media and they start doing it to their own fellow brothers and everything. So It's kind of funny. But Sam, good luck training over the next few weeks. Can't wait to see you in camp. And congratulations on coming back to the Binghamton Black Bears. I think the three of you guys are going to have a healthy competition, and it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us fans to watch.
I agree. I'm beyond excited for it.
Awesome. Sam, thank you very much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Again, I am Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening to the show. Obviously, that's like a roller coaster ride of two interviews, right? One, we're saying goodbye and thank you to Connor Smith as we talk to him about his decision to retire from pro hockey. And then we turn around and we welcome back Sam LiVecchi to the Binghamton Black Bears as he will be back and be a part of that 3-goal tandem again with the Black Bears. So it's a roller coaster ride, right? But, we got to celebrate these guys, whether it's Colan Fitzgerald, whether it's, Connor Smith. We celebrate the contributions that they did to Binghamton hockey, to the Black Bears, and, of course, helping us win the second championship in 52 seasons here in Binghamton, New York. So very, happy for those guys. A lot of times when people pass away, I always say, don't grieve the sadness, but celebrate the happiness. And sometimes we can do the same thing with hockey players retiring or whatever it may be. Johnny Hockey, that was a shocker for everybody. He and his brother Matthew Gaudreau. It's sad to see them go, but we can also look back at all the positive things that they provided to USA Hockey, which I think is very, very important. We should celebrate that as well. Either way, next week we have a great show planned for you. I know Brett Wiseman from the Blue Ridge Bobcats. He'll be on to talk a little about all the improvements in the arena down there in Wytheville, Virginia, which I think is going to be pretty cool. I know the Power Play Post Show is going to be down there in March when the Black Bears are there, and we're going to check out the arena and all the changes that they've made. And that used to be like an old rodeo barn. We're talking about rodeo stuff recently and everything with having Josh Fletcher on last week and, of course, Connor Smith on this week. That used to be an old rodeo barn down there where they used to bring in cattle and, sell them off or whatever they do in that type of scenario. And now it is a full-fledged hockey arena, so to speak, and everything. And they're going to play their second season down there with a lot more seats. I think 3,600 seats, if I remember correctly. And they're all brand new. They look pretty awesome. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting. So we'll have Brett Wiseman on, and maybe we'll have one more special guest next week, as well as I'm going to start planning for that probably early next week, if not over the weekend. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for Power Play Post Show, and please join our group. Check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And I don't want to forget, single game tickets are available for the Black Bears, so please go and sell out that first game or multiple games. So listen, last year they had 7 sellouts. Let's get a lot more. 8th one was the championship game where they clinched. I want to thank Rob Lepolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears forward, Connor Smith, and, of course, netminder Sam LiVecchi. I am Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next week right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.